Baby. Woohoo! Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Friday Zoom. I just love these. We started doing these back in November in anticipation of the new Prism that's coming for us to really be able to measure nutritional absorption, antioxidants specifically. So we have gone on a crazy run with these S3s. And we have a lot of them out there now. And so we're really able to get out and help people be well, be educated, understand, what's going on with them, what antioxidants are, why they are important. And we know that we are really setting the stage to really support a lot of people and scan the world. We're going to get out there and scan the world. And all of us are doing amazing with that. So I got really lucky and I ran into Kimberly Shuck had turned me on to some really amazing social stuff that Amanda Roberts was doing. And if you guys don't know her, she's unbelievable. You need to go follow her. She's got some beautiful stuff she's putting out there with the device. But I have not really been able to spend a lot of time with Amanda. I know who she is. I've seen her on trips. This girl is in Oklahoma. She's a Blue Diamond. She's been on like 8 trips, and I know I've been on some trips with her. But she's just phenomenal. She's got an amazing wellness story that I want her to share as much as she's comfortable sharing. And then just kind of run through like what you're doing with that S3. It is so powerful on social. I mean, she's a huge social influencer. And I just thought today this would be amazing to have her as our guest. And so thank you, Amanda, for being here.
Yes, thank you. I am so excited. I was telling my husband as I was rushing around getting ready, I was like, I am so excited for this call because I think just getting to talk about things is going to teach me some stuff too. So, thank you guys for having me and letting me share this time with you. I have the utmost respect for the two Kims. That's what I've been calling them, the two Kims. I love them. And like Kim said, we haven't spent a lot of time together, but I respect her from a distance. And I feel like you guys are all extended family. So I'm very excited. I'm just going to share my story with you and just tell you a little bit about my journey and how this all just happened really organically and why I'm excited about it. Um, it all started with my son. He's 8 years old. He'll be 9 in just a few days. His name's Harvest. And he's in the other room, so I'm trying not to talk too loud. Um, so we found out, we always knew that maybe there was just something, there were things that weren't adding up as far as he was concerned. And so we kind of always suspected that and again, I have not shared this publicly and I'm going to here because I feel comfortable to. And maybe I will someday publicly, but right now we're just not to that point yet. I'm still very much wrapping my head around all of it. But we got an official diagnosis that he is on the spectrum. And so when you get that news, it's a blow. It's a little bit devastating. I won't go into all of that, but so you just immediately go into, okay, what can I do to make his life the very best? And so also during that time he got a diagnosis of ADHD. And so we had him on this medication, and had it been working I would have been okay with it. But when you read the side effects of ADHD meds and you're putting that in your 7 8 year old child, it just, as a mom, it wasn't very settling, and we just weren't seeing the results with it that we wanted. We were still getting a lot of messages from his tutor after school like, hey, was he medicated today? I'm not really seeing. It's just so hard to get him to focus. And so we really felt frustrated. Like, we're trying to do all the things. We have him in different therapies, and we're just not seeing big results. There's only like 20 foods, that he'll eat. And there were just all of these factors. His teachers would tell us, I don't know if you guys are familiar with IEP meetings or not, but we have to sit through those, and they're, bless their hearts, we appreciate everything they've done, but they can only do so much. And they came up with a literal list this long of the goals that they have specifically for Harvest in trying to have him function better in the classroom. They even came up with this little, every teacher that he sees wears this, they made like a craft and it's a stop sign. And whenever he talks out of turn, they just are supposed to point to the stop sign because they would have to say his name so much throughout the day. So this is why my husband became obsessive of going down this rabbit hole of researching, if you will, that I use that term loosely, what we can do to better help him. So started reading all the things, watching all of the reels. And what we found out is there are more natural ways out there of things that we can do to help him. And so we were able to get him off of his ADHD meds through more natural ways. But what we learned was that kids on the spectrum oftentimes have a super unhealthy gut. Well, we didn't know that. So it doesn't really matter how healthy they eat. They're just naturally not going to absorb those nutrients the same way that maybe someone not on the spectrum would. Okay. So, anyway, that's one little tidbit. All right. That's the first part of it. Well, then at the beginning of the year, we all wind up sick. I have also a 4-year-old daughter, and then I'm married. And we all, in the matter, like in the time span of 6 weeks, we have the flu 2 times a piece. My daughter winds up with RSV. I get bronchitis, upper respiratory infection, a sinus infection, all kinds of school was missed. I mean, literally, it felt like the walls were closing in because you guys know when you have a sick kid, even just for a week, it's just not fun. But when the whole family is sick for 6 weeks, I was like, what is going on? Well, in that time, I'm on the tail end of the flu, and I'll try not to take up a lot of time talking about this part, but it was so shocking to me. I'm in the shower and I'm on the tail end of the flu, and this is so embarrassing and disgusting, but a literal parasite, you guys, comes out of me in the shower. Like, it took me the longest time looking at this thing for it to like sink in. And I'm like yelling for my husband to come in. I'm like, you are not going to believe this. And so anyway, I wasn't even trying to make that happen. It was just because I had kind of been fasting because I have the flu and you can't eat a lot. And anyway, just had made minor changes. So this whole thing is just full circle because it's like, okay, we have to figure out how we can help Harvest best. We have to figure out how we can get healthier because there's obviously something not right when we're all sick for 6 weeks. And whenever I have parasites, like what in the actual world? And so then we were trying to like use healthier things to clean our home with, to, rule out chemicals and all these things. So it just occurs to me after I'm hearing so much about the scanner, because I'm seeing a lot of calls about the scanner. And I was like, you know what? We need to get scanned and we need to get on supplements, our Nu Skin supplements, because we have these things at our fingertips and we are just sitting back, letting all of these things happen to us and not taking control of our health. So anyway, long story short, we get our hands on a scanner. So now you guys have the backstory. And so sure enough, we all get scanned. My son Harvest was only like an 18,000. So he was the lowest in our house, which is amazing because every time before he eats, like he just has a very minimum things like I told you that he'll eat. So it has to be a homemade hamburger and we use grass-fed organic beef, all the things. But before he's able to have that, we make him have a fruit plate. So he has like 3 mandarin oranges, 6 strawberries, an entire cup of grapes, a whole apple, and he has to drink 40 ounces of water a day. And so anyway, so he gets all of that before he gets his main meal. And he eats like that, 3 to 4 times a day. So knowing that we're putting so many good things in his body, but his scan is not reflecting that because those things are just not absorbing in the way that they need to. So anyway, we got all of us scanned, and sure enough, no one's numbers were where they needed to be. So I just decided I'm going to just start telling my story and just bring people along on this journey. So I've been with Nu Skin for it'll be 9 years in December. And all this time I've only ever talked about, and these are all things I love, but the things like the tanning gel and the firming cream and the whitening toothpaste and the hair mask. And those are all great things. And I, of course, will never abandon those. But what I have found in this time of now opening myself up a little bit and sharing this journey with people and bringing them along is people are super, super interested in health and wellness. And I mean, maybe it's always been this way, but I feel like in a time now like never before, because if you think about it, I've heard crazy statistics of, it used to be that only 1 in every 10,000 children were diagnosed as being autistic. Now it's 1 in 36. That's a statistic I heard just the other day. There's something not right in what we're doing, right? So people are invested in what you have to say about this, and to say that you are just able to put your hand on this device and it gives you a snapshot of what's going on inside your body is insane. And people want to go along for the ride. So what I have found during this time is, while all those other products are so amazing, and I will of course still talk about them, those had turned into more of transactional type things. But now that I'm implementing the scanner, it's become much more relational. So what's happening is we're setting these appointments and I'm getting inside people's homes or I'm meeting up with them places. And they're telling me things, people that have been customers for years, that I would have never known had it not been for this scanner bringing us together. They bring me on their journey and tell me about their health and their family history and why they're even concerned about their health and why they're wanting to be scanned and what their background is. And then if you're in their home, they love to take you on a tour of their home and show you the special effects that they have in their home. And so it's such a deeper relationship, so much more intimate, and you're learning so much more about them, and you're truly getting to help make a tremendous impact in their lives, like not just make them feel better, in their physical appearance, although that does happen too, but to know truly that you're offering something that could potentially add more days to their life. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
And then
right.
it can have an impact on their whole family. And so we have just been, I say we, because my husband has really gotten on board with this too. We're just sharing all the things. We're making reels, we're going live, we're keeping it in stories. We are creating hype about this scanner just like we would a product, creating countdowns in my VIP group like you would, hey, I've got 6 tanners left. Well, then you just translate that into, hey, I've only got 3 spots left this week, scan appointments left this week.
Yes, I
Just
love
things
that.
like that. Yeah, you're just creating the excitement and the hype. And so that's pretty much my story. And if you guys have any questions, I'm here for it.
Well, Amanda, that was absolutely beautiful and it was spot on. I mean, I think a lot of our teams have come from the social era, came in and I know there's some people that will watch this call that didn't even know we had a nutraceutical side, much less a scanner. So it is really, for me, when I started 15 years ago, it was the piece that validated the whole company for me. I wasn't even aware we had some of the other skincare stuff. So I was kind of the flip of that. Until Suzanne and Carla came along, the estheticians that I have, and they like taught me all of that. And I still go to them today because that's where I'm weakest. And so, yeah, I think that you're exactly right. We treat this just like any other product. And I love what you said about, hey, I've got 3 spots this week. Who wants to meet up? I got 3 spots left. And I think that's exactly what we would do if I got 3 tanners left or I got 5 tanners left. And then Ashley was on the tips training just a few minutes ago, and she absolutely nailed the subscription program, which goes right with this. So when you're sitting with someone and you're offering them that solution, whatever it is, I mean, really talking about that subscription program is just the key to the thing. I mean, that's the key to the business. Um, I love that you're attacking your boy in a natural way. I'm not sure if you know, but that's what I did all of my research in at Morning Glory Ranch was autism and atypical neuro. So we have the best solutions, I'm going to tell you, at Nu Skin for that. And I honestly don't think there's a such thing as ADHD or autism. I think those are superpowers that kids have that we don't recognize or the outside world doesn't recognize. And I've always told parents that, we're taking a kid with an absolute genius child. That's what they are. They have so much neurological firing. Why are we trying to stop the neurological firing just so they can fit into a box? And so I've always encouraged parents, let's get their bodies I mean, as much nutrition in their body as we can. We get it measured, but then we have to accentuate their superpowers, and that's their ability to think faster than the rest of us. And once the child understands that that's a superpower that he's got over the rest of the children or the rest of his peers, then it changes that emotional state within them. And that, I think, is the key to the whole thing. Because there's always been a stigma put on them, they go to doctors, go to therapists, go to this, so that in their mind, they're thinking, well, there must be something wrong with me, when there really isn't. They're the ones with the superpower. And so shifting that mindset, and I love how you're doing that and using the scanner to help do that. So what questions you guys have?
I saw where somebody asked if I'm charging. So I personally just do $10 per scan, but I know some people do 25, and I honestly think that $25 would be worth it. And I will be honest with you, I did have one customer, and as she went to pay me, I said, "Well, don't worry about it," because she'd been my customer for a while. And then I ended up telling my husband this story, and he said, "You know, I would caution you against doing that because you cheapen the device when you do that." People need to have that understanding, like, this is a big deal. It is a VIP treatment. You do need to pay for it. And so I was like, wow, that really resonated with me. So do not do it for free, because people do, they will pay for it and they understand the value of it.
It
I
does
wanted
give it value. Yeah.
Yes, it does. And I wanted to add this in too, which I know you guys already know this, but we have a long list of scanner certified products. But what I think is so also awesome about the scanner is, again, I'm going back to our OG products. I mean, I know the scanner actually is an OG because Nu Skin has had it since '03, but the ones, the social sellers, if you will. You can't always get your family involved with all of those. For example, tanning gel would not be something I could discuss about my 4-year-old and 8-year-old using, or even would I put it on them. But the scanner, literally anyone can be scanned, and we have scanner certified products for your kids too. So the Jungle Moles is scanner certified, which I'm sure you guys know this with Kim. Like, I'm sure she's taught you all this. But the G3,
Yeah.
and then also, now I have my kids on both of those, but then also for my son Harvest, because he doesn't really respond to caffeine in the way that you would think most kids would. I have him on the new Biome, and I do the caffeinated version, and that is helping to get his gut corrected. So those are the 3 items that we have him on. Now the gut drink is not scanner certified, but the other 2 things are. And so I love how you can truly bring your whole entire family into it. So now I'm going to start doing like a boomerang or a video of he and I talking when we take our gut drink, together, and really incorporate him into that. My daughter, she loves mixing the gut drink up in my stories for me. It's just, you can be so creative with this in so many different ways. You know how we always boost our post with a product, to help your algorithm. Well, in this scenario, I've got every person in my family holding the iPad, showing their score. And so those are ways that I choose to help boost all of my posts or my reels when I talk about the scanner. And my husband has come up with a little slideshow where it talks about carotenoids, and we use that. So I'm just saying, you can get so creative with this. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you're bringing the kids in and making it a family affair, because it truly is. And when we measure, we measure the whole family, because being well is not just about mom or dad or one child. It's the whole family. And everybody feels included and everybody feels like they're on the same journey. And that's, yeah, I love that you're doing that. Questions, guys?
I was going to ask what other supplements or nutraceuticals, that's actually the better term, that you all do use. I know you said the um, Junglemals. Do you all do the G3, or do you all do the Life Pack or anything? I apologize, I'm not on camera, but
You're fine. I'm assuming you're asking me.
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So my husband and I actually both, okay, so we bought a pack of the Life Pack, and we bought a box of the Life Pack Nano, which I actually only just learned this. I don't know, maybe if you don't know this, it was cool to me. The difference in the Life Pack and the Life Pack Nano is the Life Pack Nano has the nano encapsulation, which means that your body absorbs it easier. It's easier for it to break down through that nano encapsulation. So the Life Pack is still a good quality thing, but the Nano just makes it a little bit easier for your body to absorb. And there's a greater emphasis on brain health, cardiovascular health, and the cellular health as well. So to me, it's like, if you had to just pick one thing, and Kim may or may not agree with this, but I feel the Life Pack Nano would be the one thing that you would want to be on. So we bought a box of each. And so he and I each take a Nano one time in the day, and then we each take the regular Life Pack.
I like that.
Yeah, then that way
I
we're
love
both
that.
getting at least one of the nanos. And then right now we're not doing G3, which we eventually want to, but we've just chosen to make that what we give to our kids, the G3, and then the Junglemals for the kids, and then Harvest and I, we take the gut drink. But I'm honestly, I mean, I don't know if I would publicly say this, but I'm thinking about getting my daughter on the gut drink that doesn't have the caffeine in it, because I believe it would be safe.
Yeah.
So that's what we're on. That's all that we take currently.
Well, the gut drink, the Biome is good for anyone, even kids. And the
Mhm.
caffeinated one, the reason it works so well with a hyper neurological function is because it works reverse on that. It actually calms that. And caffeine is a carrier. It's not, and the caffeine that we use is a natural green caffeine. So it is actually slower working. That's why we call it time release. We say that, in the clear focus, it's time release. In the biome, it is still time release because of how green and how organic the caffeine itself is. And it's really very healthy for all of us. And I even think your daughter would benefit. You might want to try with her the caffeinated one and just dilute it.
Okay.
And you don't have to give it full strength, just dilute it. If you make a double water bottle with just one and let her import in a cup. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay.
And so, yes,
What I do with mine,
yeah,
because
she's got 3 kids.
I've got 3 littles, 6, 4, and 2, and they all love the new biome. So what I do with the 2 youngest is they'll split one. So I make a bottle and then they each get half of it. Because and they would drink all of it if I would let them, but it's just easier to split it between the 2. But my 2-year-old drinks it also. So
That's a great idea. I will try that. Thank you. I'm taking notes over here because you guys are giving me tips. I didn't know about the caffeine being a natural green caffeine that's time release. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Making a note of that.
And it's a carrier molecule, so it's going to help carry the other nutrients across the cell membranes and across the blood-brain barrier. It's a very important molecule. There's a lot of stuff around it, media and stuff around it out there in research, but when you get the real green organic caffeine, it's actually super healthy as a carrier molecule. Pulls other nutrients in where it needs to go. Another thing you might want to think about for your babies, especially Harvest, is the feel calm, because when their brains are hyper firing, which I call superpower, because if my brain could make that many connections a minute like his, then I would be sitting at genius level with him. I mean, it's truly a genius neurological function, but we always want to sedate it to make them fit into the environment, which is backwards. So the feel calm is going to help to pull out the cortisol and the free radicals that are being made from all of that hyperfire, because he's making lots and lots of free radicals from every time those neurons fire. And there's literally hundreds of mitochondria in each one of those neurons. So each one of those mitochondria is putting out an exhaust, a free radical exhaust. So what happens with these, especially children that are on the spectrum or in large speed fire, they create a lot of cortisol, and it lodges usually in the brain. And so they generally don't sleep well, or they'll have, if you notice that most of his issues that he's having at school or wherever are always going to be after noon or 1 o'clock. They won't be before it. And the reason is because cortisol is the highest in the morning. So the body has moved it out of the brain as fast as it can. But as soon as he wakes up and stimulus comes into his body, it's going to, all of a sudden that cortisol is going to escalate. And so if he's on the feel calm in the evening, let's drop that cortisol. And then depending on how well, I have thousands of children that take it at lunch.
Good to know.
And it knocks that cortisol down in the afternoon, and they can stay clear and focused all afternoon.
I've had the Feel Calm before, but I don't currently. And so I can't remember. It's a capsule you can open, right?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one thing, yeah, you can take anything that we have in a capsule. And this is how the parents in my research did it, because all of our kids were atypical neuro, and they were children. And those parents would take the bottle of Vitality or the bottle of Cortitrol or whatever it was, and they'd pour it in a bullet and pulverize it into a powder, capsules and all, and then pour it back into the can. You could do the same thing. You could pour them all in and put it back into the little Ziploc. And then it's, quarter teaspoon, half a teaspoon.
Interesting.
And you can put it in the G3 shot. You could put it in a muffin. You could put it on pancakes. You could do whatever. You could
That's
actually
great to know.
put it in the biome if you wanted. but you really want to take it at night. Do they sleep well? Your babies sleep well?
So my daughter, she dozes off instantly and she's only 4, so we still deal with a little bit of up and down at night because she gets scared. My son though, here of late, he has the hardest time dozing off, and there'll be times where he is in bed from 9 to 11:30 and wide awake and will have gotten up 6 times. He just says, "My body just has energy." I'm like,
No, it's cortisol. It's not
Okay.
energy.
okay.
So if you give him one of those, how old is he? 6, 4?
He'll be 9 in just a couple of
9.
days.
Okay, then he probably could
Mhm.
take 2 of them.
Okay.
Which would be, I would start with a half a teaspoon, maybe, and just, if he's not going to swallow the capsule. And within 2 nights, he's going to sleep well. And I mean, he's
Okay.
gonna
I
sleep
will
all
try
night.
it.
He's going to sleep all night.
Hey, Amanda, does he do like the little Danimals yogurt smoothies?
No,
Like those?
there's no way he would. Mm-mm.
That's what I put
I know.
6-year-old Tom in. So I just break it open and then put it in one of those smoothies and mix it up, and he drinks it like that.
That is a good idea. But I think we could slip a lot of this into either the G3 shot or the new biome.
Yeah.
So that could work.
And you
yeah.
don't want to give new biome at night though.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could give him his, and if he's at school, you just take it up to the nurse and you tell them and make sure they have everything they need to give it to him at lunch. And they'll call him in at lunch, or they
Okay.
should. And that's going to shut down. It's going to give him that calm. It's going to take some of that cortisol out that's been built up throughout the morning and make it so he can have an extra second to make a different choice. Right now, he doesn't get any seconds. It's just there. And he doesn't have that extra second to go, oh, you know what I mean? And that's
Yes.
cortisol toxicity.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll help a lot. Bailey is a physical therapist and works with a lot of children. She's a pediatric physical therapist, so she
Oh,
spends a lot of
awesome.
time. Yeah, so she's in Arkansas.
Okay.
So, any other questions, guys, for her on the how to promote it, what to do with it? I know Vanessa just did a box opening. If you want to go check out her reel on her timeline, it was amazing. She's just got her device. First one that we have over there in Oregon. So we're excited about that. And then I know Risa's going to get hers. If it's not already in, she should have hers real soon, any day. And she's in Tyler, Texas, so she's about an hour from me. And yeah, and then everybody else here has a device. So Kim Shucks is on the way, or will be soon.
Yay.
Okay, anything else, guys, for Miss Amanda?
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was fun, and I knew I would learn a lot too, and I did. I have a page of notes, so thank you so much, Kim.